All right, rise and shine, everybody. Today we are going to need a chair just for a couple. We're going to do some slow lowering. So if you're by your stairs, that would work too. Our mini bands and our our rollers. That's it. I should have wrote the list, but instead, anyway, I'm committing it to memory at this early in the morning. Maybe it wasn't my best idea. So we are going to start, of course, with some good posture and some deep breaths. So everyone go ahead and let's get our shoulders back and stand like we're proud of being awake this morning and doing something good for our bodies. Chai tea makes everything better. All right. Let's do this. So I want everyone to screw your feet into the ground like you mean it. So what that means is that I don't need you to like stomp around like you're mad, but I want you to feel the floor with both the front of your big toe, not the front of, I mean your big toe is so small, their big toe, and your heel. And let's just get the arch up just a little bit. So see if you can feel that where your heel and big toe, all the toes are making contact, arches up a little bit. What you might, if you're having some trouble, see if you can squeeze your inner thighs together. That might help pull that in, or actually screwing out the knees a little bit. So if you feel like you got there, great. Deep breaths, shoulders rolled back. You can squeeze your glutes as well. And now we're in a perfect position to come forward with our hands and squeeze them together. So go ahead and squeeze your hands together while we pull our shoulders down. And then you know what's next. We're going to do a wing here. So let's get our wings back as we hinge down. Head comes forward, hips sit back. Take a deep breath while you're down here. Feel those hamstrings and come on back up to pressing our hands together. Good. Shoulders down. Hands together, and let's do it again. We're going to do 3 of these. This time, let's really push our hips back. So think about sinking back into your hips, what that feels like. Not so much that your big toes come off the ground, but so you really feel like you've got a long back, and let's come on back up, squeezing those hands together, working on the long neck. And a last one here, really getting our fingers back this time, really thinking about fingers extending back. Head comes forward. Our back is a good tabletop. And we are up. All right. Now let's just take one foot and point it perpendicular to the other. So you've got like a T shape. Now we can do some ankle mobility in the foot with our, ankle with our foot turned out. So when your foot's turned out, and we're coming this way. So this is just like doing that foot to the wall. If you really like doing foot to the wall because it lets you see what kind of mobility you have today, you can absolutely do that. Or just hang out here. What you're trying to do is go as far as you can without your heel coming up and then bring it back. So just keep the movement going. Awesome. All right. This weekend I went to the Gorge Amphitheater, which I have not been to, I believe since, maybe the late 90s. So that was totally cool. I haven't seen a concert in a long time. Maybe one of the last concerts I saw was with you, Wendy, when you took me to see Pink, which was amazing. Anyway, switch sides. Got to see Brandi Carlile, which was amazing. If you don't know her music, good choice for Spotify today while you're working or dancing around or, I don't know, having lunch. Although it feels like her music is a little folky and more quiet when you listen to the songs, but when you see her play live, she rocks. So that was really fun. All right, going one more time. And then let's reset our feet. We are going to get eventually to a squat with a twist up, but I don't want us to start right down in a deep squat position. So now I want us to start with just a little bit of a bend in the knee and then a twist up. So your hand should be sort of at your knee as you twist to each side. Then you'll come up and reset. And then you can just go a little bit lower and just at your own pace, getting in those twists, lower and lower as you get more comfortable into the squat. You can get down so your elbow is at your knee, maybe your feet are all the way at the ground. Whatever is comfortable for you, we're just trying to work on mobility. So the whole first part, if you guys haven't figured this out, this pattern of this rise and shine yet after a year and a half or however long we've been doing it, It's start with mobility, then we do our either balance or corrective exercises, and then we do our posture work and foam rolling. We are on our mobility, so you're trying to work on that mobility. So test yourself here, just getting a little lower. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, stay at the level where it's not feeling good or where it is feeling good and you're good. All right, that sentence had good in it 12 times, so I'm killing it so far. All right, last one for everybody. I've got a little bit of a hug sequence here. We're gonna do knee hugs in 3 ways because why not? Who doesn't need more hugging of themselves? So what we're gonna do for the first knee hug is I want us to come back as far as you can tap. So we're trying to work on that good positioning here through our hips, tap. So you're gonna do a tap and then up to a hug. And then tap it back and up to a hug. So if you need to for balance, you can really just hang out back here. But I'd like to see tap and hug. I've seen lots of hugs. I'm seeing the taps. Morning, Stacy. All right. So just tap it back. Hook it up. Good. Going for good balance on that foot. Yeah, if you don't need to put your foot down in between, then don't do it. If you need to, totally fine. It doesn't matter. If you need to dance around a little bit like this, also good. Oh, I just cracked my back doing that. See, you never know. Sometimes our fun movements really do help us out here. All right, switching sides, everyone. Go ahead and switch sides. Here, stepping it back. Nice tap. Give it a hug. All right. Good. We saw a rattlesnake too while we were out there. Rattlesnakes are kind of terrifying. I mean, it's cool to be able to see the slinky snake and the rattle part, but then, I don't know, you think about stepping on one by accident or on your mountain bike, like, anyway. All right, I know they want no part of us, but I really don't want any part of it either, mutual. All right, last one. Perfect. Okay, so I said knee hugs in 3 ways. So the second time we're gonna do it seated. So go ahead and have a seat. So this knee hug is when we're have our knee up here and we're going to hug and get that twist. We're just gonna do 3 times per side. So go ahead and get into your position. You've got your knee there. Just gonna get in a twist. I want you to look behind you, not because there's a rattlesnake, everything's fine, but we're getting a twist through our neck. So just getting 3 good ones. And then go ahead, switch it to the other side. Good. You're not trying to like spin your head fully around like you're an owl here. Just trying to get in good mobility through your neck and spine. Should feel good. All right. 3 knee hugs, I said. So the third one is we're going to do knee hugs lying over a foam roller. This is the one we do these most weeks. So we've got our foam roller right under our hips, or sort of just below where our the edge of our pants are, wherever is comfortable. One knee is hugged, the other leg is extended. Your heels just slowly reaching down towards the ground. Switching sides as often as it feels good for you. We're going to hold this in, we're just going to do this, I should say, for 40 more seconds. So you guys decide how often you want to switch. If it feels good to switch quicker, that's all right. If it feels good to switch slower and sort of let your other leg just sort of drop slowly and relax, getting a stretch through the hip, that's great. We've got 30 more seconds. So it's just lots of time here to just let it go. Good amount of time. Give your knees a hug, feeling like, I'm good, I'm cool, I'm worth it. Don't forget your breathing. There's just 10 more seconds. Good. After this one, we're going to keep the foam rollers close. All right, keep your foam roller close, but we're going to flip over onto our stomach. Now, we're not going to lay where we're just smushing our chest down. Want us to get first, in our snake theme, right? We're going to be in this low cobra here. And then we're going to do a scorpion. So we're just talking about all the good stuff. All right, so we're in this position. And then what I want us to do is reach with one foot to the other side, if you can. You don't have to touch it down. That's aspirational goal. It might be that you reach over, feel the stretch through your quad. Good. Maybe after you do a couple, you think, okay, I can touch the ground. Or maybe you can touch with one side and not the other. Whatever you're doing, just trying to get that mobility in. If this doesn't feel comfortable in any way, modify it so it does. Remember, we're going for mobility. So if you feel like you can't get any in, then skip to something that feels good. We're going to do this for just 10 more seconds. And then I said to keep our foam rollers close, because while we're on our stomachs and we're working on hips, let's foam roll our hips. So everyone go ahead and grab your foam roller. Let's do it. You know this one, it's one hip. It's a one hip wonder. We're gonna, terrible jokes today. Okay, so we're gonna get the foam roller on our hip and we're gonna work on the whole area from inner thigh to outer thigh. So let's go. We've got a minute here. So start with that inner thigh. I feel you, Maria. I think you were giving me that face, or maybe it was a face for something else, but her face like, why? I get it. For those of you who are not on camera, you can make whatever face you want. You're not busted there, but you might feel like this is something I don't do often enough. I'm thinking that right now to myself, because I'm going to be honest, never, ever do these unless I'm with you guys. And then I do them and I'm like, wow, Dana, this is a spot that could really use some attention. And then I do nothing about it. Gotta put it on my to-do list or something. Like meeting with Sarah. The next thing is like foam roll thigh. I would actually do that. Okay, I'm gonna put it on my to-do list. All right, I put my workouts on my to-do list, so why wouldn't I? Let's do 20 more seconds here, everybody. So getting in, maybe it's on the outer part of the hip or just the medius part, whatever feels good here for the last bit. Or maybe whatever feels not so great, but like it needs some attention. That's probably just as good there. Breathing, of course. And let's switch sides. Go ahead and switch sides, everyone. Start at the inner thigh. You know, you got to just be symmetrical here. So, of course, don't forget, if you can't breathe in a position, if you have to hold your breath in a position, it is not effective. Okay, so you're not effective. You also do not need to kill your wrists on this one. I know some of us have more sensitive wrists or have had injuries or carpal tunnels or whatever it is. Get down on your elbows. You do not need to hurt your wrists doing this. All right, keep this going. Okay, I don't know if you guys make grain bowls to eat for yourself, but often they're made with rice, but I was making grain bowls this weekend with farro, the grain F-A-R-R-O. Anyway, you can get it like Bob's Red Mill makes bags of farro. It's kind of gummy like barley maybe, but it's super delicious, kind of nutty. It's got a lot of flavor and really yummy in a grain bowl. So there is my, I don't know, cooking tip, yummy tip of the day. We are making those and I remembered how much I love it. Okay, we're doing 5 more seconds on our hips. And then we are gonna go ahead, switch with me. Let's get into a kneel here. Get into a kneel. I know there's lots of different grains you could use besides rice, even besides farro. If anyone has the good ideas, you can type them in for us. Get into our half kneel position, shoulders back. So we're nice and tall here. You've got all the space you can to think about, if you can, getting an inch taller in this position. And then tucking your butt a little bit, that squeezes your glute. Now we've got it. All right, so we're gonna do that 30 seconds where we're coming into that pulse. This feels double extra tight, which always feels like, what have I done? I suppose 2 days of mountain biking in a row, which I don't usually do. I haven't done in a while. I usually let my mountain bikes collect a little bit of dust during the winter because I do not love spending as much time riding my bike as I do cleaning the bike. And it's so muddy and it's been so wet. I haven't even thought of it. But since we went to the dry side, it was lovely. But I am so tight. All right, switching sides. All right, nice and tall here. Here we go. Good. All right. Everyone making sure you're keeping that glute tight as you come forward and back. If you can't tighten it, you might have to release that position, or we can, or modify as you need, of course. You can do it standing as well. Then it is not directly up and down. All right. Now, quick quad stretch. If you can, that would be sitting here and leaning back. If you can, for some of you, you might think that's insane. You could do one at a time, but just a quick, we did a little bit of a stretch there, getting into a position that is comfortable for you. Just gonna do just a 30 seconds here. What I want you to be able to do though is be in a position that you can breathe through with no problem. So it's not a position where you're like wincing or feeling like, ah, but if you've got one at a time, then you can switch in 5 seconds and then you'll get even Steven treatment here. All right, you can switch or just stay in your position. But again, I don't want you in a position that you're like having one eye open only and with the other eye, you're like, your face is getting contorted. Should feel okay. All right, and let's quick roll our hamstrings. We neglect them sometimes. I also feel like it's a little hard on the roller. Sometimes a ball is better. So if you have a way that you do some kind of flossing or moving of your hamstrings, you can use that. A stick works too, but let's go for it. Let's just do one at a time. Just gonna get about 40 seconds per side. I like this shearing motion. You can see I'm going side to side. That just feels good on it. Feels like I'm just getting some blood flow and some movement there. And then after this, we will stand it up and do our first set of corrective exercises. We'll use our bands. All right. Good. So from all the way from the top of under, sort of just above the knee, be careful behind the knee. There's lots of tendons and muscles coming together there that can be sensitive. So sort of focus just above it to right underneath your butt. All right, and let's switch sides. While we were at the concert at the gorge, but we were in sort of this, in the area of the gorge, which is really beautiful. Riding mountain bikes just out in the brush. There was 2 like full-on Top Gun fighter jets that came through the gorge below the levels of the gorge, like right, not that far over the water. It was I both hate seeing displays of military might, and it was awe-inspiring too. So kind of cool. Lots of fun things this weekend. Always fun to go somewhere new. See what you can see. All right, 5 more seconds. Getting these hamstrings awake. And let's stand it up, grab a drink, grab your bands, please. And we are going to do our first set. Okay, so our first set, the first thing we're going to do are glute med kickbacks. So that's when we kick back diagonally, you know those. And then the second one, we're going to move our band up. So don't do this yet, but I'll just show you. We'll move our band up and we're going to do a squat where it's squat this way. So we're going to have a nice thrust motion, kind of like we're doing a thruster actually. So, but we are trying to keep the focus on the outside. So for now, let's have our bands around our ankles, everyone. All right, and standing up nice and tall. And diagonal kickback, let's go. So standing there, I want you to do the one that is hard for you. So everyone's band is different. So for me, I can get a big range of motion with this. Some people can only get a smaller range of motion and that's fine. If your band is really too easy, you can stay out and pulse, but you should be able to feel it here. You might also be feeling it in that front standing leg. That's okay too. It's working to stabilize you. 3, 2, switch. If you are constantly falling over as you do this, I don't want you to do that. Just put a finger on the chair or the wall. Totally fine to stabilize. I hope everyone has switched sides. Good. Nice and tall. Chest is not coming forward. We're just staying upright here. Getting in that diagonal. Good. And 5 more seconds. This is the home stretch here. So wait. All right. Everyone move your bands up to just above your knees. All right. Get your hip or feet just a little more than hip distance. Now I want us to first set our feet and our knees correctly. So go ahead and let's dump our knees in and our arches are touching the ground. So we're in this terrible position. This is a good way to get into a better one. So we know we can get our feet in the same spot, but when our knees come out of it, we can see that our arch is in a good position. So check your feet. So now we've got tension on the band on the outside. Now we're in the right spot. We want to keep it there as we do our squats. Here we go. So we're coming down. Good. Imagine you've got tension on this band. It's like you're pushing 2 walls away that are trying to smush your knees together. You're not letting it happen. And every time you don't let it happen, you're like, yeah, that's why we're having our hands up. Yeah. Okay. Good. So the hands up is trying to just get a more explosive motion, but also is a little bit of a distraction from thinking about your knees. So keep the focus on your knees, what they're doing. And 3, 2, good. All right, let's go through it one more time. So bands repositioned around your ankles. All right, back into our tall positions with our shoulders back. Nice breath. Here we go. Kicking diagonal back and hold and pulse or coming back and forth. Decide what you can do for 30 seconds. Just staying nice and tall. Yes, looking good. All right. Keep this up, which by that I mean this, I mean your chest and your pulses here. 3, 2, good. Go right to the other side. You might be feeling it now in that standing leg. That's okay. If you need a break, just bring your foot back in, shake it out, and then go again. Good. All right. Keep this kicking back. Nice and tall, everybody. Good. And nicely done. All right. One more time with those squats. So go ahead and reposition our bands. This little twofer here is a good one to do before you run. Wouldn't take long. Here we go. Come on down. Everyone should have their knee and feet positioned great. If you don't feel it as good as last time, just reposition by coming in and right back out. You should feel like you've got tension right there. Keeping your knees in a good spot. Keeping your chest long. So your chest stays long. You're never crumpled down here. Good. And 5 seconds. 3, 2. All right. Go ahead and get rid of these bands. We are on to our second set. So our second set is also corrective exercises. So corrective exercises are working on things like PT, things we don't do very often, or areas that are trouble for runners. We don't have to wait till they're full trouble. All right, we're gonna do bent knee calf raises. You can do them at the wall or a chair. So you can also do them elevated. So if you're standing near steps, I know some of you are. So you're in this bent knee position, then we'll be coming up and down. So this one is targeting the inner muscle. The calf is 2 muscles. This is the inner Coming up, slowest. The second thing we're gonna do are slow lowers, you know, the slowers. So that's when we're here. We're gonna lower as slowly as possible. And we're gonna make sure our knees tracking. I'll cue it when we get there. Then we're gonna roll our calves and then we're gonna do it all again. So let's get started with our calf work here. So you decide how you're going to, what you're going to hang on to, but you're not doing this one as just a balance thing here. Want everyone hanging on. All right, so knees are bent. Let's do it. They were coming up to the tallest range of motion, controlled back down. Come on up and controlled back down. Good. There was a dance of this, right? Like, dee, 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 dee. Okay, yep, we're doing that. So this is gonna make us all better dancers in case that weird Pee Wee Herman dance comes back in style. We're gonna be ready. All right, come on up. Good. Everyone's still, their upper body is the same as it's been, nice and long, no crumples, shoulders are back. Got nice strong posture here. We've got 3, 2, good. Okay, so now you need somewhere where you can do your lowers. If for some reason you just don't have anything nearby, you can absolutely hang on to something and just slowly come down. But what I want you to do, I know I don't want us looking down, but I want you looking down for a couple of these. You're coming down and making sure 2 things. There's 2 knee problems that can happen. One is that your knee just comes in, just like we didn't want on when we're banded. We don't want it here. And the other thing that it could do is start just going whoop, like wobbling all over. So I want you to come down as low as you're in good track. So imagine this is the track of your knee. As long as you're in that good track, that's what I want. And I want you to lower down as slowly as humanly possible. We're gonna do 40 seconds per side. Maybe you get 4 reps, that's fine. Let's go for it. Whatever side you wanna start on, let's do it. Really slow. And if lowering easily and slowly down to your chair is, there's no plunk, see if you can get something a little lower, right? Maybe you try your couch. If you're doing a giant plunk, maybe you could find something a little bit bigger. So maybe you use your chair plus a pillow on it. You decide. Let's see what everyone's got. Let's see those still knees and hips. Good. Nice balance. Brian was karate chopping some flies in our living room, I think. Good. And 3, 2. Yeah. Okay. Switch sides whenever you don't have to get yourself up mid sit there, but going to the other side. Nice and low. Now the other side might not do as well as the first side. That's okay. If it doesn't, we're hoping it does, but you might need to go down a little less low because I don't want you to solidify a bad movement pattern, right? This is all about strong knees and keeping that control. So I don't want you getting strong in a wrong position. So really take a quick peek, know yourself, stop it when it's not good, 5 more seconds. Nicely done. All right, so I promise we're doing that set twice, but with some calf rolling in between so we can see how it feels for that second bent knee calf raise. So go ahead and grab your foam roller. Let's put both legs on to start so we can just get some twist and shout here. Well, hopefully it's just a twist and not too much shouting, but get your calves on there, wiggle them around, both on there at first, just trying to get some blood flow there. Do the easy part first, warm them up, and then we can do one side at a time. Go ahead, one side. So let's just get a focus on whatever feels like, ooh, that was a tough spot for me. So for me, the outer part of my upper calf, the peroneal tendon comes in there, and that spot can get sore. So rolling that for me feels good. Sort of that shearing motion towards the bottom around my ankle feels really good. Feels sort of like a sticky spot. So that feels nice. For me, rolling up and down doesn't feel quite as good as the shearing motion does, that side to side. So I'm gonna do that. And we are going to switch in 10 seconds. So we'll switch to the other side. If you realize how quick, 45 seconds or something goes by when we're using this equipment, go ahead, switch to the other side. So it doesn't take long. You do not need to do a 45-minute mobility every day. You could do 2 minutes per day. Not very much time, but you probably can find 2 minutes if you decide you're going to. So think about that, especially if you just do a sticky spot. All right, I sent out that a link to Ryan Hall and a newsletter maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, he has a goal of getting his biceps a certain size. I don't know. He's like, I don't even know why, but whatever. Some kind of giant biceps thing happening. So he said he's, instead of doing a specific exercises, he just said he's doing something 20 minutes a day. Stopping there, let's go back. I like that concept. It's basically just saying, I don't have to overdo all the time, but if I do something every day, I'm working towards this thing and it'll happen when it does. All right, so let's go to our calf raise. So bent knees first. So we're in that bent knee position. Hopefully you feel like maybe you have your knees bent even a little more than you did before, because we've released it a little bit. And let's do it. Raise and lower. Good. If it feels too easy, you could stand on a book so that your heels can then come down below the extension there, below the floor. There's a word I'm looking for. It's lost in my brain somewhere. Anyway, we're lifting and lowering, and hopefully you feel like, okay, this one's good. I'm feeling this one for sure. We've got 10 more seconds. If you need a break, that's okay. Just pause longer between reps. Good. 3, 2. All right. And we're on to the slowers. So the most important thing is our knee is on a track and we're keeping it in the track. So whatever that is for you, let's do it. Slow, slow. Good. So slow. This is a good one for IT band issues. Keeping stable, strong knees. Again, if you don't have a chair or that feels too hard, you can always hang on to something, and nice and slow, just go for a lower and back up. Doesn't have to be super, you don't have to be lowering down to the floor. I swear people can do that. I'm envious of all of that, but you don't have to. That's where you are. Just go to where you can control it. Other side. So nice and slow. Good. If there's a plunk down at the bottom, if you can increase your space, it's good. Otherwise, just don't smash your tailbone. Not worth it. Stacy's like, I know. It's not worth it. All right. 10 more seconds. And we are good. All right. So everyone go ahead and let's go. Actually, before you go down on the floor, let me just show you what we're doing so you know. First one are slow mountain climbers. You absolutely know these, but which one you think? You're trying to get our knee to touch our elbow on each side. So we're tracking our knee right into the socket, so we're not crossing, just going knee to elbow. The second one, we're going to do a side plank. We're not going to do a hold on our side plank. We're working on hips all month, so we're going to make sure we lift our hips and back down. So we're just going to work on that hip lift part for the full 30 seconds. So the first things first are the slow mountain climbers. So if you need to do them without using your hands, if a high plank is tough, if you want to do a low plank, you absolutely can, except you'll want to have your knees coming just to the outside of your elbow a little bit so there's space. All right, so whichever one, if you need to. Hi, Happy. All right, come on into position, low plank or high plank, you decide, and then let's get started. So nice and slow, knee to elbow, knee to elbow. I'll show you the low plank if that's what you're doing. Doing the low plank. Knee still comes to elbow when you come on the outside. Don't forget to breathe. And also keep that ground pushed away. Don't want to see any saggy. Don't need to be cats or cows here. We're planks. Let's see it, everybody. Ooh, looking good. Yes, this is good. 10 more seconds. Staying strong, getting those knees driving forward in 3, 2, all right. Great. Let's switch to the side planks. All right, so we're in our side plank position. And remember, this one, we're gonna just do a lift and lower. Now, level 1 will just be lift and lower, not just, will be lift and lower. Level 2 is lift, kick, lower. You decide, let's go. Lift and lower, or lift and kick and lower. Up to you, how you wanna do these, but we're doing full 30 seconds here. If it feels like, wow, that's too much for my shoulder, see if you can reposition and make sure the shoulder is right over your elbow. And if it starts hurting your shoulder, then don't do it. All right, just take this as a break. It's totally fine. We've got 3, 2, switching sides. If that lift and lower feels like a lot on your shoulder, I don't want you hurting your shoulder during a class that's supposed to be rejuvenating. We're on. All right. Good. Making sure everyone's neck is in line with your spine. So we're not looking forward. Do not look at your toes during this one. You're looking out at the world. Good. All right. I know we always hold our side planks. So you can tell me if this one feels harder doing that lift and lower. Might just be harder on their shoulder. 3, 2, all right. Nicely done. We are gonna go back to our first thing, which is those slow mountain climbers. So we're driving our knees to our elbows. Low or high plank, does not matter to me. Whichever one feels more comfortable to you. All right, we're gonna start in 3, 2, let's do it. I'm gonna give you 40 seconds on the clock. If that feels like too much, it's totally fine to drop to the ground, inspect your carpet, your hardwoods, your tiles, and then come right back up. Also, please breathe. We're just over the halfway mark. So if you need a break, this is a good time to take one. And then join us back here for the last 10 seconds. And if you need to hold the plank without the knee drives, that's fair too. Do it. All fair game. 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. All right. Last thing before we get to roll our glutes and our back, we are going to do our side planks. All right. Got our lift and lowers or our lift and lowers. Here we go. So lift and lower or lift and lower. You choose. Good. I know for some of you, lifting on one side is no problem. Lifting on the other feels like, take it slow, see what you can do. And if you can, great. If not, great. Everyone loves you. Everything's fine. All right. 3, 2, go ahead and switching side. Switch your side, I should say. We are switching sides. Sides are switching. Here we go. Come on up and lower. Good. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting that I'm lowering. We do it always, so we always hold. My brain's like, what are you doing? Good. All right, we're getting to the end of this one. We'll get to flop onto our backs here in 10 seconds. In 3, 2. Yeah. All right. Well, don't flop yet. Make sure you can flop in reach of your foam roller. Then you can flop onto your back. Before we get onto our foam roller, go ahead and just lay on your back for 1 second. Get our knees hugged in. Oh, I did 3 knee hugs 3 ways. Now this is our 4th. So just go ahead and hug them in for a second. Just want you to feel like you're resetting your back here. All right, and then let's do it. So we're gonna start with glutes and then just work our way up here. So let's get our foam roller on one glute. You can be in the figure 4 position or not. So this is getting to your glute without being that figure 4, or you can be into that figure 4, doesn't matter. But let's start glute med. So side butt, everybody. Show me your side. You should be sitting sort of like you can't sit on your butt here. So you should feel like that. Getting in the side there. And then once you feel like, okay, that's enough of that spot, just go right into the meat of the glute. I'm doing a minute per glute, and then we'll move to our backs. So we've got our minute timer is going. Hopefully you started on the side butt, so we don't forget to give it some attention. And then move around as you feel. If you feel a spot that's really spicy, you do not need to have the spicy, right? Go above or below. See if you can just roll through it. You do not need to just stick your foam roller to where it hurts, right? You would not just poke a black and blue mark. Just try and get the blood flowing around that spot. Maybe it can loosen that way. All right. And go ahead and switch sides, starting with that glute med area, the side of your body. Getting in some good breaths here. We want to end on the feeling like that was no problem. We are rejuvenated from whatever we did this weekend, ripping off our legs. I think Maria did a giant ride, of course. Not I think, of course, Maria did a giant ride. So she's gluing her legs back on. She's probably also still drying out in some places. Oh my goodness. All right, so 20 more seconds. So if you feel like, uh-oh, I didn't get whatever spot on my glute, get there. Good, I see everyone in their different positions. I know all of you guys were doing something fun over the weekend. I just don't know what they all were, so can't call it out, but all right, let's change to foam rolling our back. All right, next Monday, I will be coming to you from Sun River after we are there because Brian is going to be racing the Beastman Triathlon in Bend next weekend. So we'll still be there. So I'll be in our rental house in Bend. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I will have all the cheer out of me. I can tell you how fun that is. I love watching Brian race. I mean, it's kind of just like watching a speck run by for 2 seconds, but you know, still fun. All right, making sure you don't neglect your shoulders. And before we're done, I'm gonna cue a little armpits on each side. We're not gonna end there because why end with bad news? But let's go ahead. If your foam roller's near, go ahead. Get into one of your armpits. Let's do it. And just get that forward and back or up and down, or just see if you can maybe pin and stretch. But let's not neglect our armpit. Wow, that is tight zone. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I have to think about, okay, if I'm doing this now, maybe it'll make my arms swing a little bit better and swimming will feel amazing. Got to connect it to the activity to help you not feel like, why am I doing this? Why? All right, switching sides, switch to the other side. Armpit. I was going to say armpit of despair, but let's call it the armpit of happiness. Pretend like we love doing this part. Good. So remember, ow, the pin and stretch on this side is special. I have to use my other hand to pull it around. Whew. All right. And then just a couple more seconds and finish on the spot that makes you feel like, I always feel better when I roll that spot. So whatever that is, roll the spot that makes you feel like, oh, good. I love my foam roller. Finish on a happy note, everyone. The last 30 seconds, for me, I like the upper back. I always feel like I can twist myself sort of over the roller while still getting in those deep breaths. Feel like I'm opening up my chest. It's the opposite of hunched over my computer. Got my elbows out. Whatever it is for you, that feel good foam roller position, end there. And have such a good day. If you want to tell me about your killer weekend, please do. I'll turn off the recording so it'll be super secret.